certified swim officials association May meeting, and everyone should have an agenda, which Brad sent to us. And so the first thing we're going to start with is a moment of silence. If anyone wants to mention anyone in their chapter or for your own intentions, feel free to speak up at this time. I will let everyone know that if you don't already, Bob Hirsch's son Kenneth passed away, and we sent a donation in Ken's memory to a charity that Bob had listed for us, and just so everyone knows, we got a lovely note back from Bob and his wife Barbara, thanking us for our donation to the project. So we'll take a moment of silence. And I'm going to ask Paul McClintock if he would say a few, to let us all know what's happening with Peter Hugo. So Paul, you would take a minute to do that?
So I don't know, most of you probably know that Peter's been battling cancer. He's been in the hospital in Long Island for the last 3 weeks. He's been in North Shore Medical Center. He's being transferred today to United Jewish, is that right? United Jewish Hospital, but he's had what I would describe as a couple of down moments, but you know, Peter, he's got a great spirit and he's up to the task right now and getting healthy. Again, he's hopeful to be sent home by the end of this coming week. And I spoke to him this morning. He asked for you remember him in your prayers and your thoughts, and he looks forward to rejoining us all at future state meetings and meets. So, can I mention another person here? So actually, I spoke this morning to Pat Potter, and Pat has moved down to Georgia, where her children are. She's doing well. She told me she went out for an 8-mile walk yesterday. And I told her I'm struggling to do 1.5 miles every day, so good for her. But she sounded great. She's doing a lot of things. I think that she's in a I won't say assisted living home. She's in one of those homes where
it's an independent apartment in an assisted living area.
Right. And as she said, you know, so I'm here while I'm independent, but if something happens, I can be moved to the other one. And again, she's much like Peter. She's such an independent soul and a wonderful woman. But she asked to send her best regards to everybody. And she was OCF here for a lot of years, and she refereed the girls' state championships out of the how long? A long time.
She's 91.
91. So.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah,
she's our section. She was just, what did you say? I just wanted to add something else for her. She was just inducted into the Hall of Fame with the Aquatic Center back in October. She was there also. Actually, I have a couple of really nice pictures, and her children were there. So it was a great evening. Yeah.
That's really good. Thank you.
Okay. On that note, Brad will be putting Kat's address in the minutes. So anyone who knows her, please take a minute, drop her a little card, just let her know. I know when she left swimming, she sincerely missed all of us and what went on, and you know, she would appreciate anyone who took the trouble to just touch base with her. And then also everybody, this card is for Peter. I'll get this in the mail to him today. Everybody signed who's here. I thank you for that. That's good. Okay, so thank you, Paul. So moving on, if everyone will rise, we will have the pledge of allegiance. All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving along, roll call, Brad,
Black River Valley,
here.
Capital District,
Here.
Champlain Valley, Finger Lakes, Ithaca, Cortland, Jamestown, Long Island, no Long Island, Mark Randall, Metropolitan, Mid-Hudson,
Here.
Nassau, Suffolk, Niagara Frontier, North Country, Norwich, Ontario, New York State, New York City, in New York State, Rochester, Monroe, Rockland, Roger Bell, South Central, Southern Tier, Southwestern, Syracuse, Westchester, Western New York,
Go Bills.
absent. I like the Bills, so they're my team too. OCF. It's the boys is not here. It's the girls.
Here.
President, vice president, second vice president, past president, treasurer.
I'll introduce the, representatives on the, executive board. To my right, second vice president Doug Cassidy, treasurer Ken McInerney, secretary Brian Fesserick, I'm the president, Loren Techber, first vice president Carolyn Morrow, and past president Paul McClintock. And now we'll have self-introduction of the representatives and any guests. So we'll start with Alice.
Alice Pitts, Mid-Hudson. Joanne Foster, Section 2.
800 Mark Randall and OCF.
Well, I'm here as the chairman of the Rules Interpretation Committee.
Butcher, Niagara Frontier. Jim Bolton, Jamestown area.
Carolyn Connors, Cortland.
Diane Hickey, Gerald State.
Nancy Persick, Roger Bell, South Central, Chester.
Doug Perkins, Long Island. Regal Burger, Southwestern. American Block, Norwich, Olean.
Paul.
Oh, McClintock, Westchester.
Carolyn Laura, Black River Valley, Texas. Loren Techber, New York City.
Brad Sarah, Syracuse, and secretary. Ken McInerney, treasurer.
Doug Cassidy, second vice president in Western New York.
Okay, so now it's the secretary's report, so.
Buckle up, here we go. Couple things, there should be circulated, as I with mush, two items, the sign-in sheet, so that is to make sure we have the appropriate chapter delegates that can get emails throughout the year as we send some stuff to everyone, so that to be updated. And then also the exam score reporting, which I will talk about a little bit once we get to the exam, but that one too to be filled out also. As part of the email too, I sent out on Thursday with the agenda with revised minutes from the August meeting. There were some clerical changes. some items, but nothing material. So I submit those to be approved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay. Still me, so, okay. I did have a snafu earlier in the month, so I do apologize when I did request rule book orders from everyone. And I had forgotten that New York State Public High School Athletic Association asked us last year to go to online ordering by chapter. So this year it will be online ordering by chapter. Someone from your chapter, whether it's you, your secretary, your treasurer, will have to go on to the NYSCSOA store where it will be listed in the minutes, but it is https://NYSPHSAA sales.com. And within there, down below, you'll scroll down, you'll find swimming and diving 24, 25, 26 rule book. Click on it, go through like you would do with any other online order where your chapter will put in the number of rule books, who they want to send to, and then pay by credit card. Most likely, I did not get that far when I was testing it. So any questions on that process so far? There's a couple other things that go along with it, but I want to just pause
I
there.
had a question. Is there any reason we are purchasing them through New York State versus directly from the National Federation?
So this is through New York State. It's going through New York State. So instead of me compiling everything and then sending it to Jill at New York State, this is each chapter will automatically submit it and it will go to Jill automatically and she can process them as they come in. So it's just an easier process for them. But the soccer officials do it. Many other official organizations, they want to do it too. They want it across New York State because it's easier on their end to track it via the online system because then it can get to them. They submit it to Federation. It comes back. It helps them fill the orders with their delivery department,
So
the shipping department.
So the National Federation wants to get them from the state. They don't want the orders directly.
The orders have always come from the state. This is just an easier way for both us, myself, and Jill at the state to compile the orders and then send them to the Federation to get them because they do I believe they do a bulk order where once they get the numbers that come in, they'll say, hey, we're going to order 700 rule books. And then they have them sitting there so that at any time you need more rule books, you can just go on the online store, order them, and then New York State will send them to you. So that's sort of the process is that Jill will get all the orders coming in through the online portal and then be able to send that over to Federation.
All the coaches and ADs do that too.
What?
All the coaches and athletic directors do that too.
Yeah, schools too. So anyone can go straight to that online portal. Schools, ADs, section coordinators, anyone can go to that online store through NYSCSOA and order them. And then Jill at the state can send them in or fulfill the orders through the shipping department.
Can you just send us an email with that?
It's gonna be in the minutes.
Okay. So.
Yep.
Is there a deadline?
Yeah, so that's the next part. Any other questions kind of about that process before we get to that? She plans to upload the link on the portal by May 30th. So she's got to kind of wait until the National Federation says the books are available. And then on June 1st, you should be able to go in there and put your orders in. And then they'll be filled as soon as they get in. And then if you forget to do it, you can order them in July 1st, August, whenever you need to order more. So actually, it helps out with that. You don't necessarily have to buy extra ones now because they're going to have a supply of them there. You can buy the only ones that you need and then buy extra throughout the year if you need them. Yeah, so we'll talk, the executive board will talk about that and new dues will have to probably be adjusted down to not cover the cost of that in the future. Or we'll just say, don't pay that part of it. I forgot if it's a line item or not on the dues count, but that will have to be done before the August meeting. That's actually a good thing too. So I mean, I have that here. Okay. The rule book costs are going up this year. They were $6 on the website. They're going up to $8. $8. The rule books are actually $12 from the Federation. That's their MSRP, we'll call it, is $12, but the state has been subsidizing it to a tune of 50%. So they're just taking a little bit more for their costs, pushing it back on us. Federation tariff, I guess you could say.
I was just gonna say that, the tariff, right?
Right, but I mean, they were paying $6 up to 12 in the past, so they're just, putting more of the cost back as everything's going up to shrink their costs down probably too, so, it's $8. So they're just covering a lot less than.
The online one still free?
I don't know the answer to that question, but Jill did mention that she would like all official organizations to go to the online one. I don't know if it's free or not. I can check in on that if you want.
We're not supposed to have our phones on deck or anything, so you can't access the room. About that. Okay.
I'm too old school, I like it now.
That's my told her. I like going off the rule book, but she's like, don't you want to have your phone right there on deck so you can do the thing? I'm like, I don't want to get into it. I'm like,
Every time you can't have service.
I don't want my phone falling into the pool, so I'm not going to have it. But yes, she reiterated the online rule book as an option for the future. Still, I just got taking notes here. Okay. Any other questions on rule book orders? And I'll probably send out a reminder about the chapter representatives closer to May to remind your chapters, take that information back that they need to, someone will have to do that work from your chapter. We did also send information to Jill at NYSCSOA around the exam dates, and consistent with history, they'll open on Friday, August 1st, close on Sunday, September 14th, so close to 45 days, if not exactly 45 days to complete the exam. The second window will open Saturday, November 1st and close on Sunday, November 16th, as we have in the past, about a 2-week turnaround for the second one. I have asked to get a PDF of the exam ahead of time. That with the rule books not being complete probably till June anyways, I'm guessing the exam's not done till that date. So when I get it, I will circulate it amongst you guys so that you can circulate it to your chapters. Again, it will be again on Dragonfly. Again, the exam, all officials should take the exam during the first window because that allows the rosters to be completed in September with all the officials with the dues and things like that timely. Again, we did change this last year, but the pass mark is 85 regardless of what the exam site says. I'm hoping that they keep that from last year where we did fix that, but 85 is the pass mark. You can take it a number of times if you want to get that pass mark up to 100. Several officials do that. They must like to have that 100. I like to skate by with 86, so. I passed it the first try, I'm good. Yeah, but again, they gotta pass it, take it and pass it to be listed on the roster in September. So we ask everyone to try to take it during that 45-day window. That's it for me.
It opens on the 14th, you said?
August 1st.
Oh, that's different.
August 1st.
Oh,
Yeah. It closed on September 14th. Yes.
Okay, my question is, I know the results will be sent for the primary members to, let's say myself. How do I find out for my associate members, how do I find out their scores?
Yeah, so the document I sent around is the primary person that will be assigned through Dragonfly to see access to their chapter's results. And so we do have some chapters that overlap and have different people listed for their primary. I do believe, unfortunately, that it's only the primary chapter that the official lists in their profile that will be listed. So you as a chapter would only get Bush Metro if you're that designated person, and you would only see people for Metro. But if someone is Long Island that's also Metro, Long Island won't see them because they're Metro. But luckily, I get access to all of them and I download all of them, and then everyone will get all of them listed in a PDF. You will just have to do a search to find if there's an overlap because it does often happen. Long Island flips with Nassau Suffolk or whatever, or they'll solve 3 of them, even 4 of them, because I've seen some where they're New York City, Metro, Long Island, Nassau. So you'll have to just search their name if they happen to be primary with you, but in their profile they listed a different one as primary. You can also just be kind enough to say, list me as primary, please, if they're really primary with you. Now, they may or may not listen to you, but it's, it just fixes the things in the past where now your chapter can automatically go in, find out who's been passing their class. It's harder for those that have associate members where you may have to search for it, but at least they'll have everyone that has passed. And if you don't see a name on the list, you can just go rattle their cages to kind of go take the test before September. But thank you for the question. It's 85 and above, but it's a 2-point question per question, so really it's 86 and above. But technically, by our bylaws, it's 85% and above.
Yeah.
Because the exam used to be 100 questions, so now it's 50 questions or 55 if they put the video ones back on or not. So 85 and above. I actually did a presentation thing where I was like more than 10 or 10 and above, right? So more than 10, you don't count that. It's more than 10. So. That's how I work. That's how I'm a numbers guy. Any other questions for me?
Okay, great, thank you, Brad. Ken, you're up with the treasurer's report.
All right. Everybody, you got your copy, right? So on this, since this was made, there were just 2 additional expenses which would be reflected on the next report, which was the boys scholarship winner for 1,000, and the insurance that we have to pay for all the reps, and one little miscellaneous board member expense.
Okay.
Other than that, that's it. Still working on some New York State and federal things, but with our federal and state organizations, tax department, but I think I'm making progress finally. So.
Any questions you can?
Move to accept the financial statement.
First.
Well, thank you, Doug. Being on top of that.
Okay, so moving along. We have a few committee reports, so I'm going to first ask, first I want to thank those people who served on I'll start with the scholarship committee, served on that committee. For the girls meet, it was Tom Mangle, Doug, and Joanne, and I thank you for serving on that committee. And for the boys scholarship committee, again, it was Tom Mangle, Doug Cassidy, and Brenda Lyons, and I again thank you. Tom Mangle is his official is Westchester. He spends he's at his new place a lot of times, so he works from home, and he's been kind enough to handle the updating each year the dates on the application and getting them to the girls and boys state representatives, and then Diane and Peter get those applications out to the coordinators, so that's been working fine. And when all the information the student needs to fill out that scholarship is there on that piece of paper, they go back to Tom, and then Tom gets them out to who's ever on that committee, and they read them and meet. They're due the week before states. They read those applications, they meet and decide on the recipient for that reward. And they'll let me know when that reward is then, that award is then presented at the state meet to that at the scholar athlete. And we do have a small celebration. All of the applicants are named and come up onto the pool deck, and they get a little favor and some recognition. So again, I thank you. And I've asked Doug this time if he would just do a quick talk about each of the recipients for this year's girls and state boys state.
And you may know that we have we've stiffened the requirements for the scholar athlete applicants a little bit, raising some of the scores, minimum scores, and that has reflected a little bit in numbers. you may recall times when we had the entire bulkhead at the state meet with kids that had applied for the scholarship. Those numbers were down and very manageable this year for both girls and boys. In the fall with the girls, we had 16 applicants that represented 10 different sections, including PSAL and the Catholic schools. It was a great group of girls, and as Joanne could tell you, I mean, it's tough to decide. One of the things, because the kids obviously are meeting those minimum standards academically, they're all really good students. So what we find often differentiates the kids are their personal essays. And Tom does a great job in the application. It says that essay speaks for you as we go through those. And I can tell you, and I think Joanna would agree, that those are really helpful in understanding, the kids' aspirations and all those kinds of things. So we were very fortunate to have a bunch of great applicants. The winner was Maddie Horner from Pelham in section 1. She had an incredibly high GPA. She's going to Johns Hopkins for chemistry and biology. Was just very, very impressive young woman, as they all were. In March at the boys' meet, we had 9 applicants representing 7 different sections. The winner was Misha Kubanov, who had a weighted average of over 100, 100.35. And he's actually going to New York University for finance. And interestingly enough, one of the things that he described in his community service and his essay was that he started a program for teaching swimming because swim lessons were knocked out in a bunch of different places. So it was a thing called WaterWise, WYSE. And so he and some students and stuff, actually he's the president of the organization. They have an online presence and they teach swimming to young kids. So he was, again, a very impressive young man, as they all were. So it's a tough choice, but as a former teacher myself, it's really gratifying to see how hard these kids work, not just in the pool, but in the classroom.
And Misha's a local boy.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought that the NYSCSOA deliver that popular big person, they live in the same town.
Oh, I know, yeah, that's not far from me at all.
Okay, great, thank you very much, Doug.
Just so everybody knows, just on sort of on this, I'm not saying no, but having to do with awards, our association also gives the Outstanding Swimmer Award. That's the swimmer who does the best each year in the league. And this year, the girls' outstanding swimmer was Gretchen Braun from Canton Central High School in Section 10. And Michelle, that was the first time we ever had a Section 10 winner. And she was first in the 100 free and the 100 back. And the boys' outstanding swimmer this year was Sean Green from Archbishop Malloy High School. And that's in New York City. That's the Catholic High School Athletic Association. And if anyone knows about Sean, he was in Olympic trials. He came in 8th in the 100, the 500 free. And that's why he wasn't at States last year, because he was training for that. But he was at States this year, and he won the 200-yard freestyle and broke the record, and he won the 500-yard freestyle with a new record also. So at the end of the meet, they both received an award, a plaque, New York State plaque, and a little plaque with their name going on. Yes, Bob.
If you don't know, his grandfather was the chairman of the Catholic high schools and attended the New York State meets every year and was very much involved with the boys' state championship. So I know that Donnie really enjoyed seeing his grandson do a fabulous job.
It was amazing swim. Okay, so moving on with the committees, I'm going to ask the Jay. He's the personally thank the state meat selection committee. Both Jay and Tim Boltman are on that committee. And I've asked Jay to just say a little something about how that went this year for us.
It went very well. There were a couple of hiccups in terms of timing where officials first accepted and then kind of last minute declined. That always makes things a little difficult, but thankfully we had enough officials that said that they would be available for last minute selections, so we were able to cover it. I would like to make an appeal, though, to one particular section who's decided that they don't wish to participate. And the appeal is to please reconsider. Section 9 has made it known that, that they don't wish to come for financial reasons. I understand everybody's got finances, but going to the state meet is an honor. Yes, it certainly has a financial cost to it, but nobody's getting rich doing it. The idea behind officiating at that level is to represent the area that you come from, because that's what the state meet does. It represents all athletes from across the state, and that's what we're trying to do with the officiating group, is to get that same kind of representation. Whoever is in Section 9, please reconsider. We'd love to have you guys back in the fold.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to, obviously, we don't need a report from the audit committee, but I do want to thank Doug, Tim Boltman, and Jay for being on that committee during my term as president. Thank you, Joe. And the last committee report we're going to have is the rules committee. So, Bob, you're on.
In 1977, the president of this association was a gentleman by the name of Ed Leibinger. And Ed Leibinger said we need a rules committee, and he named 3 individuals to be on that rules committee. He named Steve Morris, who was our secretary for many, many years, as the rules interpreter for Central New York. He named me as the rules interpreter to deal with the Hudson Valley and Long Island, and he named himself to deal with the Western New York, basically Section 5 and Section 6. And it was a little different because chapter reps or rules interpreters would call the closest individual, Steve or Ed or myself, and we would give an interpretation, and then the 3 of us would get back together via phone, and we would talk about what decisions we've made in the last couple of weeks and why and so forth, trying to get together. And it has revolved into a committee now with 5 individuals, and it's, with the communications we have, it's almost instantaneous, and from my perspective, works well. This past year was probably the quietest year the Rules Interpretation Committee has had in the 48 years that I have served in that capacity. We only received 2 inquiries. I think those 2 inquiries were made. One was made to the committee regarding diving and the use of dives that were not in the diving table. And of course, that's an absolute no-no. And that was very quickly told to those who asked the question as to what was going on in that section. The other one was one of you who was here, who wrote and asked about the backstroke turn. They made a decision on the deck, and they wanted verification of that. And that's it. That's all we've had, which is fantastic. I attribute it to 2 things. Number one, I attribute it to the fact that there were only two new rules last year, so that there wasn't an awful lot of changes involved. And incidentally, that's going to happen again this year. You'll only have 2 changes. The others, reason I think the committee was so quiet was because of you. Many of you have been here for a long time. You have listened, you have learned, and you have honed your skills. And obviously, you're doing a very good job. So the committee would like to thank you for what you have done because it's working. And you obviously are doing a very nice job. On behalf of myself, I would like to thank the members of the committee, Joanne, Jay, Doug, and Paul. You've done it. People have no idea how much time that you put in working on the rules and interpretation. And as a committee chair, I'm delighted. You've done an outstanding job, and I publicly thank you. And with that, I will say, Madam Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. I've given my report to the secretary so we'll have it for his minutes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the New York State Officials Coordinating Federation Report. That's the OCF, and that's Jay Tucker.
Our next meeting is Monday, so I'll have more to report possibly in August. Recruiting for all sports is still an issue, although it doesn't seem to affect swimming. That being said, I've talked with Lorette and the e-board about that training program that Lorette has mentioned. Had a couple of meetings that's been supported by NYSCSOA, and we pretty much decided that we really don't have a use for it, simply because we really don't have problems with recruiting. If your chapter does have issues with recruiting, or your numbers are low, or you need some help with that, please speak up. We would be more than happy to. In that light, NYSCSOA is also partnering with Dick's Sporting Goods, and they're holding recruiting fairs periodically throughout the state. The last ones were in Binghamton and here in Syracuse. And if you're interested in putting out a table during those events, or just helping man the tables that are there, the tables that are there, they would appreciate the help. That's pretty much it. Yep.
Okay, so what remarks from the obviously Peter's not here, but remarks from the. Oh, you're going to do it.
Scott sent me.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, but so we're up to the questions and remarks from the Boys and Girls Swimming and Diving Chairperson. So, Jay, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask Diane to go first.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. The girls' next meet is November 21st and 22nd at Western, the state championship. The boys are March 6th and 7th at Ithaca College. We had our Zoom meeting with the entire state coordinators on Thursday, and Lorette, Paul, and Jay were on it as well. And as you know, if you've been on the National Federation rules site, the proposal for backstroke legends has been approved by National Federation finally. And we discussed it as a committee Thursday, and we have asked that it be implemented by state approval, but not until the 26-27 school year due to budgetary issues, as well as making sure that everyone's on the same page. The earliest it could have been would be November this year, and we did not feel for equity between girls and boys season that would be acceptable. So we have asked for the state to consider it and put it off for 1 year, and they will vote next Thursday.
No more to snow.
So we will know more whether, but we felt for budgetary reasons, people needed 1 school year.
Right. Girls championships is November 1st and 2nd.
Read it again.
21st.
Okay.
Okay, Diane, great, thank you. You have anything else? Jay, is kind enough, at the same meeting, not only is the girls' meeting, but it's also the boys, and Peter wasn't able to attend, so Scott Warner, Peter's assistant, was there, but he has, some information he gave to Jay to transmit to us.
Watching what Diane said, the boys' states are gonna be at Ithaca for this coming year, which is 2026, as well as the following year, 2027. Next spring, they will be, going over bids for the following 3 years, for the boys. And he wanted to mention that the boys swim committee chose to retain all of the, officials, for the referee, the assistant referee, starter, assistant starter, diving referee. They chose to retain them for the one from this year for next year. That's it.
And also Diane's, the girls chose, well, their officials also.
Bill selected, and I think Jay talked to some today.
Yeah,
Yes. And he also sent out an email to everybody.
yeah, I sent a welcome to
So,
people, to
those
let people know.
should be alerted.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now we're up to the Distinguished Service Award, and that's Carolyn.
I am very happy to report that we had 3 very worthy candidates, and we were able to come up with a decision. And the Distinguished Service Award will be presented in August. And we are down some more applications now. So if you have any nominations that you feel are worthy of this award, please continue to submit them. Good quality coming in. So we appreciate those of you who filled out nominations.
There will be a Distinguished Service Award application in the minutes, and we'll have the new, who that award goes to, because it will not be Carolyn, it'll be a new person's name on that application, but that will be included in the minutes. Thank you, Carolyn. And as everyone knows, the recipient and whoever nominated that recipient will be, the recipient will get a letter, an official letter from Brad, from the association stating that they are receiving this award. Person who nominated that person will also be, but they'll be given that information also, and that person, those people will be invited to our meeting. Hopefully they'll come, and then we'll present that award in August. Okay. Okay, so we're up to old. Anyone have questions about any of that? We're good? Okay, we're up to old business. So I do have 1 or 2 things. Jay mentioned the recruitment program that Mr. is running, and that they're trying to get all of the sports throughout the state to participate in. And if you remember last August, I talked about it. I mentioned what was going on. I mentioned that there were materials available if you requested them from me. I had one group, I believe, request something, and there was no interest. So as Jay said, unless your chapter in particular is having some problems, which right now we don't know, please let us know. But as of right now, we're not going to move forward with that. And the other old business was the website, and we had decided just at least to start to kind of piggyback and let Peter Hugo assist us with that, and that obviously now is on hold. So we're working, we're getting some stuff together for it, but it's not going to be a big push, especially at this time. So that, just so you know, that your wheels are moving with that. This year's scholarship application, as I mentioned during the scholarship committee report, will be updated by Tom Mangle, and that will go out to the appropriate people who need to get that application. So, old business for anyone else? Yes, Paul.
Well, now that you've mentioned Tom Mangle, because I was going to bring it up in new business, I don't believe he receives a stipend or anything for handling all of the applications that come in, contacting the different athletes and coaches, answering questions. This is not coming from Tom. He's a good friend of mine. I know he does it for the love of the sport, but I think that offering him stipend for the amount of work that he does for this committee is in line, or at least to be discussed.
So we got the offer to the other committee members, did you anything on that work?
No, Tom's the primary guy. He gets the applications, he verifies that all the components are there. If there's anything missing, he contacts the coach or the kids. So he's still doing, I mean, and we basically spend the time just reading through the applications, get together on Zoom and talk about it, but all the organizational stuff Tom does.
The hard stuff is done before we get it.
Exactly.
Make a motion that,
Well, I think that the executive board needs to talk about this, so I think we'll meet about that and we'll come up with, we'll report on this in August. And then if we need to have a vote on that we're gonna spend money, we'll go then, but let us get it together and then, move forward, and in August, we'll move on this. Does that sound?
And we would have an opportunity to move on it prior to.
Yes,
to,
in doing
the
work,
fall
yes, absolutely.
fellowship one.
Okay, okay, we have that, that's all right.
Yeah, but in there,
Any other old business? Okay. There is no one else to stop.
So
Hurry
this was,
up.
so this was from, Bob at the last meeting, and Mush and I were gonna take it away, and we did start to look at it a little bit, but there was a request to sort of put out a survey. We weren't able to get to it this time, but we did have a list of things that was sent out prior from when Mush did it several years ago, so we are committed to kind of getting that done over the next month or so, and then getting out to you via a Survey Monkey or something, or a Google form that can be filled out, so that we can organize it. But we just wanted to go through kind of what was on the questions from before, and if there's anything else you might want to be asked. So, you know, obviously, name of chapter, the schools you serve, the section you serve, to organize where you're from. How much do you get? How much are your dues per chapter? How much do you get for a meet fee? Do you do extra heats? What's the cost of the extra heats? Is there a charge for late fees? How many officials are assigned to each meet? Do you give extra if you're doing the meet alone? How many are used in your sectional championships or maybe regional competitions? Diving judges, is a referee included in that or not? What's your championship fee? How many hours is work typically for your championship? Are the officers in your chapter given the stipend being an official? And how much? Does your chapter get new rule books prior to taking the test online? Which should be a yes, but it was there last time. Like we said, this is a couple of years ago, but that should be all yes this time. But are the books mailed to the primary members? So how do you get them out? And then there was a question about the main meeting being necessary, but I think we've addressed that here in the past of doing Zooms versus not for the main meeting to help alleviate that question. Those are the questions we had before. If there's anything else that you would like to announce now to be included on that, or if you want to afterwards, send myself and Mush an email on that, a question you want to ask, we're going to kind of organize it back together and then try to get it out to everyone, hopefully in the next month or so, to be filled out. So hopefully we'll have something to discuss at the August meeting.
I also would like to put out what the original, years ago was.
No, no, to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything.
But she gave me a paper. I still use paper, but
You can scan it.
we can scan it, we can PDF it, we'll figure, we can get easily PDF it, but let us know if you have any other questions you might want to ask amongst everyone else here that you're looking to get information on to go back to your own chapters with, to help with negotiations or anything that's going on within your local chapters.
Okay, any other old business? Okay, so we're up to new business. We don't have any new business, right? So, all right, but Bob, yep.
I have two things. Number one, I know that Ken is leaving, We will be getting a new treasurer, and that person will have to, work with Ken in changing banks and making all sorts of arrangements. And in that process, I would like the association to consider having that person, open up a separate scholarship fund, as a 501(c). It means it's tax deductible. So if someone wants to make a contribution to our association scholarship fund, they can do so legally and get a tax deduction for that. It is a suggestion that I have that whoever the new treasurer is, that they pursue that avenue. Any questions on that?
So just a couple of things on that as well. I believe the process for becoming a 501(c)(3) has changed from like when George Fleckenstein did whatever he did. So I talked to a CPA and an attorney. It's gonna, if they do it, which I would suggest that they do it, it's costly, you know, a couple $1,000, probably $2,000 to $3,000 is my guess. So just be aware that would be something that we would have to do. We should not have to change banks when I changed, because I switched over to Chase when I took over. So that's a statewide bank. So we shouldn't really have to do anything with the bank. But as I said, one of the things we were talking about was we apparently don't have an accurate federal tax ID number as it is right now, I think. That's the best I can tell. I've been trying to work with the state to see if they can cross-reference, because the state can't help me at the moment. And the state, the guy that I was on the phone with for about 2 hours, couldn't even verify our New York State not-for-profit corporation. So, but again, I think we can do that, but just be aware if we switch that. I think that's a good idea, Bob, personally. And I know some of the local chapters are 501(c)(3)s. If we could have a volunteer that's an attorney or a CPA that would do that. I don't do that, but as I said, just be aware that there's a cost involved, and it's gonna in the thousands of dollars, $2,000 to $3,000, maybe up to $4,000. I would think it's gonna cost.
I understand that. I did not make a motion. I made a recommendation that it's something that be considered.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
And I think that someone, I may want to put something in my will to donate money to the scholarship fund, blah, 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 blah. And it should be something formally and legally. And that's why I made the suggestion.
I'm still in your will, right?
I don't know which soul is. I gotta check it out.
Like Matthew left, I don't
know, are you a 501(c)(3)?
Yes,
On the lighter side, and help me out with you, and Kenny knows that I have been making small contributions to our scholarship fund for years. I do so because I care about what we do, and I think it's a marvelous program. I know I'm probably the only one, and maybe Kenny can, I don't even get it. But to me, there's nothing wrong with an individual that's been here for years saying, you know, when I make my deductions this year, let me make let me send $50 or $100 to the New York State swimming officials for their scholarship. And that's why I made that. Okay. I'll do that. And I have a question for you, the second item. How many chapters that are represented here today have a program, a sportsmanship program where they honor schools for their sportsmanship? Terrific. You're to be congratulated. But as you can see, this is less than half of our association. Okay. I would like to, I would like to say that I know that Long Island has been conducting a sportsmanship program for many years in 2 sections, whereby a plaque is awarded to the top sportsmanship school in each section. The plaque goes to the team, who gives it to the athletic director, who takes it to a Board of Education meeting, and the Board of Education usually honors the the team for its sportsmanship. As a former school administrator in central office, something like this is terrific for the district and for the kids. And what I am saying to you is, and the hands were raised, if anyone would like to consider starting a sportsmanship program, speak to the people who have raised their hands, or speak to myself, or Doug is around, talk to Doug. It's a wonderful program. It doesn't cost much. It's something that your membership can do that enhances swimming. And Jay said it very nicely before. We don't have problems generally obtaining officials because swimming and diving is unique. And we do things that others do not. And running a sportsmanship program like you do, I do, we do, can enhance what we do. And again, the offer is there. If you're interested, talk to someone who raised their hand, or both of them would, and find out what they do and consider adopting it for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, so no new business? We're good? Okay, so Brad is now going, I'm sorry. Is that your, yes, that's new business, I told you. Oh, no, not that.
You and me.
No, not yet. I thought you're new, we're in the car and all she does is talk, so I'm not sure.
That was a long ride.
Anyway, no, I thought you had another questionnaire. Was that your new business? No? Something about the questionnaire, or you covered that whole thing? Oh, very good. Okay.
Anything else?
No, I was curious, I spoke to a diving person. I was curious, I hear from when I go to a diving meet, I hear from the coaches and I hear from the officials, and it's like, this and this and this. So I said to myself, why? And I was gonna do it at the state meet because there's always a bazillion people, but I'm gonna do it in Nassau County, and all I did was I have a survey. And it was a survey to the coaches and a survey to the officials. And, one of to the coaches, I have a separate diving coach. What are your complaints about the officials? Do you know the rules? Do you have a rule book? Do you know the deductions? And then for the officials, I have, what complaints do you have with the diving company? What do you have complaints about the divers? There are things that irk you about what divers do, and you can't tell them. You can't say, you bounce too many times. You can't really do that. So I kind of thought about doing that, and I was told that I really shouldn't do it at the state meet because I'm bad at giving things out at the state meet. So I'm going to do it at my section, but I was curious, and if you guys are interested, I'll bring it next year. Yes.
What do you do with the information?
What I said to them is that I was going to compile it. Whoever sends me the results, that I was going to send them what they had to say. So that a coach knows that officials don't like when he runs up to them in the middle of a diving and question him about the meet, about the dive that just went on. Things like that. I was just curious.
Can you send that to us so that we can do a similar thing in our own section? That'd be great. I'd love to get feedback from folks in our section.
I think just feedback is good. And feedback to the people that are making the complaint. Okay.
Sometimes they're really quiet though when you ask them for feedback. I said sometimes the people that complain are really quiet.
Not when it's
anonymous.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true.
Not when it's anonymous.
Yeah. Do not write your name and don't write it in your own handwriting. Because I know who you are.
Your own handwriting. I was laughing about your own handwriting because, when the Cardinals vote, they change their handwriting. Does everyone know that? So no one knows who wrote what ballot. They have a big thing, about the conflict going on. That was one of the things that they said they will change their handwriting.
So they wrote it with their left hand and their right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting, but anyway, okay.
So,
Do that.
you want to do the date?
Yeah, so the next new business would be the dates for the next meeting. We did make a change for the fall time, late summer, to be August 16th this year. That was changed from August 9th. Then next May, it's scheduled to be May 2nd, which we do believe will be held via video conferencing. And that one too, we may adjust the start time on it just because, you know, noon video meeting versus maybe 9 o'clock video meeting might be a little bit better. Because we're not traveling. Then following one, we're tentatively scheduled for Saturday, August 8th in 2026. And then again in 2 years, May 1st in 2027 for the next 4 meetings. Any questions on those? Sorry. He's asking about May 1st in 2 years would be in person because that would be an election year in 2 years.
15, is that in person or is that gonna be?
In person. At the current moment, all of our August meetings, we do believe should be in person because of the rule interpretations and just generally meeting in person at this time of the information that's shared in that meeting. Yes, we have to,
I make a
I
motion, we
don't know if we need a motion, but we do need to get approval, so. I don't know if we need a motion for that, and we just say, we want to take a vote to approve these. Mr. Roberts rules.
Well, let's
Oh,
just
here.
go, make the motion.
I make a motion to put these dates for next year. as stated.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. So, Bob and, we have 1 or 2 things in here, Bob and Mush have, something they want to present.
Okay. Mush, has been around for a while, and I think those of you that know her know that she cares a great deal about this association. In the last few years, for a number of years now, she has made a quilt of honor, and she presents it at our meetings here to someone who has made an outstanding contribution to this association. And this year, it goes to Ken McInerney, who is retiring as our treasurer. Let me say a few words about Ken. That's going to be hard because I've known Ken for about 40 years, and encapsulating it into 1 or 2 words is not possible. We got to know each other. I'm not going to go back to your days at West Genesee.
No, Liverpool.
Soccer.
Liverpool.
No, that was afterwards. You went to high school.
No, Liverpool.
Oh, you went to Liverpool. Okay. And you played soccer and you were a diver there. And for years, Ken would bring divers as the coach of Liverpool High School to the state meet. And his divers were always exceptional. And I really didn't know him then. I appreciated but you don't talk to the coaches a great deal and you don't talk to the kids. Ken and I got to know each other through the Empire State Games. Ken would bring his divers. He was a diving coach for Central New York, and I was an official there. Things changed. I became state chairman and for diving for the Empire State Games, and served there for many years. And at the same time, Kim became the Empire State Games director for Central New York. And he's really quite an outstanding individual. And to say a few words about Ken, again, I can't. He's family orientated. He has a large family, very supportive, and as a father, it's nice to see things like that. And most of you don't know it, but an uncle of his is renowned in the basketball world and is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame because he served as an NBA coach of several teams, Syracuse Nationals and the Rochester Royals. I'm referring to a gentleman by the name of Al Serby, who Ken was very close with. Again, he comes from a very large family, and they are paramount in his life. He's also a very successful businessman. He works for, he's a wealth management specialist. He works for a company called The Legend, I believe, and he himself is a legend within the Legend family. Ken never became a swimming official. But when we had,
He did.
I did.
He did.
Periodically.
Periodically, but never became a full-time.
He became a member of our chapter, whether or not he did any meets or not.
And the reason he became a member was when he accepted the treasurer's position of this association. He did so because he was interested in scholastic swimming and diving, and as a professional involved in the sport, he did us a favor by signing on and becoming our treasurer. I know we talked about stipends today. This association offers Ken a stipend because we know how much the treasurer's job demands of an individual. Ken, to my knowledge, has never accepted that stipend. Why does it? Because he loves the sport and he enjoys working with us. Ken, on behalf of all of us, Bush has a quote that she has made to present to you. And if you, I'll tell you what, you come out front, I'll hold it, you go around front, take a look at it. On behalf of our association.
No, you guys, thank you. You guys do such a wonderful job. And work and everything, it just became the time for me to stop. But I'm gonna miss everybody here because you guys do everything. I think you did so much more than I ever did, but just keep up the good work that you've always done. Everything going.
Congratulations, Ken.
Thank you, guys. Certainly not necessary, but greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Father Bush, for that. That was lovely. Thank you for giving that on behalf of our association. Bush for all your time and energy on that. And so now we are up to elections. We're up to the election, so that is all for the election committee.
Chair of the nominating committee, we'd like to present the following slate of officers. For President, Carolyn Ball. First Vice President, Doug Cassidy. Second Vice President, Lucas Santiago. Secretary, we move on to that one real quickly, not to lose them. Brad Deserve. And Treasurer, Brenda Lyons. I'm going to go through, and of course, Lorette will move into my slot as immediate past president, not an elected slot. She'll just be there to help everybody. This also means that I get to move on. So I'm going to go through it. Each individual I'm going to say, are there any other nominations? I'm going to say it 3 times. That's what we're supposed to do. And so bear with me. We'll start with the president. Sorry.
Can you please just tell us a little about Lucas and Brenda though? Like where they're from, please?
Well, Lucas is from Capital District. Leanne, did you want to say something now?
Yeah.
You did our last meeting, I think you came to our last meeting in August.
Yes, you did. I sent him because I was at a swimming at home. Lucas is 30 years old, young gentleman. He was a swimmer, 8th grade swimmer and high school swimmer growing up. He became a high school official, 21, 22 years old. So he's been doing this, I think, 6 years, something like that. While he was doing that, he also became a USA official within many hours in that also. So he is in the sport, lock, stock, and barrel. He's already volunteered his time many times, and he is also just got elected as vice president of Section 2 officials.
Chapter.
For Capital District. Sorry.
Chapter Capital District.
Capital District, right.
So Lucas was approached by Lorette and I at state meet and agreed to be nominated. And here he's a young man. He's up and comer. If he's selected, would be a breath of young.
I've worked with him at state several times. And the first time he came with Pat Potter, so he had a good teacher. And he's really good.
And Brenda Lyons is from the Westchester chapter, so I know her very well. Brenda is a business owner. She's a very good official. She's been to states now a couple of times. I've mentioned this to you in the past. It's neither bragging or complaining. It's just a reality. Down where we are, besides having 40 girls teams and 24 boys teams, we have a active winter rec league. We have a 60-team summer league that all swims, dual meets. Officials do a lot of officiating. So I think that her business skills and her personality would be an asset to the board, and that's why she's being nominated as treasurer.
Thank you.
Okay. So at this point, for the office of president, are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay, so nominations for that position are closed. For the office of first vice president, any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Those nominations are closed. For the office of second vice president, any other nominations? Second, third, those nominations are closed. The office of secretary, not any other, no other nominations. Keep Would anybody else like to be secretary?
I said it would help, yeah.
Getting easier. I got rid of the rule book, you guys, so that's one step down. This is shredding duties.
Those nominations are closed. For the office of treasurer, are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Those nominations are closed. So I'd like to thank everybody, and
We have to do
now that's going to be the secretary or the president.
that's what we take from that.
I'll make a motion that the secretary cast one unanimous ballot, except the slate of officers that have been described here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And I think you have enough time before August when you turn over to complete any paperwork that has to be done to make this organization a 501c3.
Technically, no. He has about 5 minutes probably left.
All right, well, before I hand over to Daryl, to Carolyn, I have one or two or three things, sorry. First of all, I want to thank Brad. We're always talking about Brad and all the work he does, and we know no one wants his job. I think we can kind of agree on that. And I'm not giving Brad a gift. This gift is for Brad's wife. I wrote her a little note and saying thank you for putting up with us through Brad. And I hope she enjoys it, Brad. And you know we appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's what we're all that's what
Thank you.
we also have for Ken, it's Christmas, Ken.
Oh, sure.
So get ready. We appreciate it. No use talking, because Bob did all the talking, but I made a little something for Brad. For Ken, and Ken, just so everyone knows, I did get him, you can't see it, maybe he'll take it and show us, but it's a fleece from Land's End with our logo on it. And Ken, I didn't put your name on there because I didn't know if you like to grab that. And I don't know, Ken has a house on a lake. And so I got him, and I don't really know what, I've gone out to eat with Ken once in a while, but I don't know. But anyway, I was able to get limoncello and two cocktail glasses, limoncello glasses that are engraved with the New York State Certified Consumer Officials Association. And then
It's a great image of him sitting on the lake.
everyone's a limoncello.
Afternoon, cool. Drinking limoncello.
In his sleep.
And
All goes perfectly.
last but not least, I do have to thank the past president, Paul. Paul, for me, Paul has been a great mentor. Anytime I called him, he answered. He's been calling me Madam President for 2 years, and I'm really tired of it. And this week he called me a lot to keep it up. But he's just been, without his help, without all of these guys, I wouldn't have been able to succeed with this. So I'm going to miss him. Carolyn's going to miss him. I've been on trying to be as good to Carolyn as Paul was to me. And during this time, I've also become not only friends with Paul, but friends with Fritzy. And again, Fritzy gets a personal love for me and a little gift. And we thank both of the wives also for putting that in us. I want to thank Doug and Carolyn both. They've been great first presidents and second vice president and first vice president. And I guarantee and assure you guys, they're going to do a great job for our association moving forward with that. And so no longer anything to me.
You don't want to hear from them?
I will be at States, and I'm still on the executive board. But I'd like to say, it's been a fun ride. I've spent a lot of time I've been coming to the meetings for a lot of years, and I've spent a lot of time and met a lot of great people and had a lot of good fun. When that meeting, as Bob mentioned years ago, when the meeting was on Sunday morning in Syracuse, me and Bush would fly up and rent a car, and we have an adventure every time we came to Syracuse. We try to do something fun, and we would do things like, one year we visited the Sisters of St. Francis at that 100-year-old hospital thing that they live in, and they took us to Skinny Atlas. Like it was pretty interesting. And another time we went to the Finger Lakes, and we wanted to go swimming, and we didn't have a towel. And so they don't sell any towels in town because they don't want anyone swimming in their lake. So they had a towel at the pet store.
Towel, or was that a clean?
And then we we went to the local place to swim and we weren't allowed. So I said to Mush, this is baloney. There has to be a place to swim. So we talked to some people, and one person was nice to tell us where to go. It was around the back of the golf course, and you park your car like on sand. But we had fun. So we were always having that kind of an adventure. So it's really been a fun time. And I'll say one more story. Mush rents a car, so she says, listen, when we get to the airport and we get the car, it's all right, don't worry. So we go to the place, we get the car, it's this little red convertible roadster. All right, so she said, because I thought we'd have fun fooling around. I think we were going to the state fair or some ridiculous place. So we get this thing and we're driving on 90 or 81, and Mush is driving kind of fast, which is fine. So these guys pass us in a car. And so, so she speeds up. So, blah, blah, blah. So we didn't really get a look at them. So finally, I said, just let them pass us. So she goes over. They speed up right next to us, and they turn to look, and they go. And they go. They leave. I said to Rush, and they looked at the car and saw their grandmothers. So we've had a lot of fun adventures. And I'm going to hang around for a little while longer with everybody. So thank you very much. And now I should say congratulations to Carolyn and the Pam.
I would like to thank Lorette. She's been a wonderful mentor. She really has. And I especially liked her last note that she sent me. Oh, by the way, these are all the things that you need to do. That I had no idea that there were all these things that I needed to do. So, hopefully, I have everything situated and the committee's name. And please, you are more than welcome to get in touch with me anytime if there's anything that you think needs to be changed or questions that you have or whatever. For those of you who don't know me, I am from a little community of Krogan, New York. Okay, I did not bring down any Krogan balloons. However, we are very close to the top hills, so we end up getting snow, like effect snow. So Tug Hill Vineyards does a wine, like effect wine. So give it a try. I'm not a drinker, but we'll see what it is. And maple syrup comes from our area, sugar cakes, and then we have a famous chocolate candy shop. So you and Marsh can eat it on the way. In terms of the committees, I would like to announce the OCF representative will stay Jay Bradley Tucker, but we're adding Paul McClintock to it. So we have a co-OCF because there's every once in a while when we get those snowstorms and the person that lives in Syracuse can't get down through. So somebody a little bit closer, more moderate weather, hopefully, can make that call. We have two for the OCF committee. Lucas Santiago should be replacing or should be the one that oversees the audit committee. And we have Mike Kucher, who is going to be joining that committee with Tim Bolton. Okay, so they will be working on that committee. Mechanics of officiating kind of dissolved, but at this particular point in time, if you have any questions, Tim Bolton will be more than willing to tell you where it's.
Ellen Wade, take care of it.
Ellen who?
Ellen Wade,
Ellen Wade.
yeah, if you have any questions, go to Ellen Wade.
Go to Ellen Wade.
He's here till Thursday.
New first vice president is Doug Cassidy. I have to say thank you very much. One of the first Zoom meetings that we had to do, I was on the telephone because I am not computer literate. I keep my niece on standby and she just looks up over the hill and comes down, but I want you to know I got on by myself because Doug actually hooked me up for Zoom. So we actually hope to have everything that taken care of. And Doug, your new official position will be the Distinguished Service Award. So I have this neat little folder for you with all sorts of stuff. And again, we will definitely accept any new nominations for people that you feel are deserving of the award. State Selection Committee is going to say Jay Bradley Tucker. We have Lorette Turbeck is going to stay on it, and Tim Bolton is stay on it. Okay, now, the last committee is the State Rules Interpretation Committee. Diane Hicks is, and we're kind of planning on hoping that Peter Hugo will be able to join us. They'll be consultants for that particular interpretation committee. We have Jay Bradley Tucker, Doug Cassidy, Paul McClintock, who has agreed to be the chair of that position. Lorette Techford is going to be on, and Bob Kirsch is going to stay on. Brenda Lyons will be the new treasurer coming in, and Brad is going to stay secretary, and Brad and paper also. It will take me 3 hours to type what I can write in 15 minutes. So thank you very much. I will do my best to be a solid president for you. Please don't, you're more than welcome to call me. I do have to tell you, I will not answer my phone during school hours. I still teach. We have a policy that we're not supposed to have school phones or phones out, texting, so on and so forth. So mine is locked up in the cabinet and it doesn't get any service until I get halfway home, and then it starts to go bing, 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 that they're all there. So hopefully I will get back in touch with you as soon as I can. Okay. Thank you very much for everybody who has supported me throughout the years, and I look forward to the next 2 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I have a second. Okay. And at this particular point in time, meeting is adjourned.
More box lunches though that are, anyone wants to take. I've got your checks here, so don't leave until I give you those.